Welcome to the Winning Edge Investments Podcast. Winning Edge Investments provides industry-leading horse racing and sports betting tips, ratings and education, enabling you to invest intelligently and treat your betting like a business. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com to learn more about how you can start to supercharge your betting bank immediately. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Great to have your company on this Friday morning. Great to have your company on racing.com. If you're listening on your local SEN track dial or the RSN dial, we're going through now to 42 stations right across Victoria on your local RSN dial, also on our brand new RSN app, and also on the SEN app as well. Thanks to winningedgeinvestments.com, tips, ratings and betting education for racing and sports. Let's catch up now with Dean Evans, who joins us as he always does on a Friday morning during a spring. Hello to you, Dean.
Good morning, Gareth. How you going?
Good, thank you, mate. Well done. Apocalyptic and Autumn Glow were both Group 1 winners, and at the start of the spring when you joined us, you gave us your top 5 horses, and those two horses featured, and they have delivered.
Yeah, they both won 3 from 3 so far this prep. Autumn Glow was really pleasing. I think for our service, we gave it out as a futures bet around $6 for the Epsom, and she did the job there. And we gave out Apocalyptic at $13 for the Flight Stakes, and she did the job as well for us. And, it was nice to identify horses as a maiden that goes on and wins a Group 1. And, how exciting for next year.
Yeah.
We might lose some horses like, Pride of Jenny, Via Sistina, Mr. Brightside, they might all drop off. But when you've got the likes of Autumn Glow and Apocalyptic and Aliana and Treasure of the Moment, there's going to be some really exciting sort of weight for age races next year with the new crop coming through that are very, very talented.
And good news yesterday, Michael Freedman joined us on Giddy Up Stable Mail. Apocalyptic will be heading to Caulfield for the 1,000 Guineas on Saturday week, which is the MRC in Racing Victoria been rewarded for moving back that race now to that Saturday when you get the superstar filly from Sydney heading down the Hume Highway. And Autumn Glow will be going to a Golden Eagle to wrap up her campaign. This is Apocalyptic's last run as well in the 1,000 Guineas before she goes to the paddock ahead of a big autumn. The races that we'll cover, first of all, we'll go to Caulfield. We'll cover this mares race, which is race 4. O2 Goods at $2.70, Jenny Lala at $6, Molly Bloom at $6.50, See What I See at $7.50, and then Ponderloey at $10, Gala Queen at $13. So how have you read this race, mate? Obviously you like it.
Yeah, look, interesting profile for this race. In the last 7 years of this race, the winners settled in the top 2 in running, which is quite a remarkable statistic. In fact, 9 of the last 12 winners of this race settled in the top 2 in running. So it's a real sort of leaders race. You got Jenny Lala and O2 Good who look to settle in the top 2, and you probably got See What I See right on their backs third. The last start winners have a really good record in this race, 2 really strong profitable records. See What I See and Gala Queen, both last start winners. And last start favourites are a very, very positive betting record, and O2 Good was the last start favourite. From a ratings perspective, I've got O2 Good, See What I See and Gala Queen. They all rate very, very clearly ahead of the rest. And there's just an average tempo expected here. Jenny Lala leading, O2 Good, unless she kicks up and Jenny Lala sits outside, and then, See What I See just behind. So I think O2 Good really profiles perfectly with this race. Settles, either on the lead or second. She's got the best form, that nose second to Lazura in the Group 2. That's low 2 starts back, beating and bounding. That rates really highly for this. I think she's clearly the one to beat O2 Good. And the danger, maybe See What I See, who's, won 7 from 11, also on speed, listed win the last prep. She won last start at Ballarat. Be a lot fitter now, third up after she had a very long break after a bit of a setback, and she just looks primed here. And so I think O2 Good, the one to beat, but, keep See What I See safe as well.
Who do you like in the Toorak? Sepals at $3.40, Lazura $5, Evaporate $6. It's a wide open Toorak this year. Transatlantic at $7, Like a Lucy $8.50, and then you go down to Feroce at $12 here. Damask Rose is at $15, Dean.
Yeah, interesting race. Look, the last 14 years, no mares have won. In fact, only 2 mares have even won a place in the last 12 years from about 27 runners. No horses also won off longer than a 21 break. 21-day break, and you've got Lazur and Like a Lucy, both mares coming off 28-day breaks who are right in the market. So I can't have them at all. Nothing's won with a gear change. You've got Evaporate in the market. It has 3 gear changes, which is an interesting move for a horse that won last start. From a ratings perspective and a map perspective, the two horses who stand out, you've got sort of a really average tempo here. Transatlantic leads has been set for this race, and Sepals getting a nice trail. I do profile the nicest, but you've got Sepals coming up to a mile, hasn't won over a mile, has to jump 5 kgs from his Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes win. So although it profiles nicely, that 340 is quite tight. Transatlantic's had 2 runs over a mile and hasn't won either. So there's a little bit of a query on him at the mile. Well, I think the value is still Transatlantic in terms of getting a nice run and profiling well for this race. But I thought the horse that, if he'd drawn a gate and had mapped a lot better, I would have had him clear on top. And really the better the day is for Roche. Just such strong form lines for this horse. He was second beaten ahead in the Caulfield Guineas. He won the Australian Guineas last prep. Obviously runs a very strong mile. He was a really good third in the Sir Rupert Clarke last start. I thought it was, he sort of sat 3 wide the whole way, hit the line really well, was only beaten a length. He only goes up 2 kgs, whereas Sepals goes up 5 kgs. And my only concern with Feroce is he maps sort of 3 or 4 wide. But if he can get slot in, or even if he gets yanked back a bit, can get a good run, I think Feroce is a really huge value in this race. And I think both Feroce and Transatlantic are good bets at the prices.
We just need some magic in the first furlong there with Billy Egan, and you'll know your fate there with Feroce, who's currently at $12. But Mark Hunter totally agreed with you this morning on the Hunter's Edge. 10:52, we'll take a break here, Dee, and then we'll come back and have a look at a couple of races there from Rosehill.
Live across the SEN track and RSN networks, and broadcasting live on racing.com. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up this Friday morning. Dean Evans from Winning Edge Investments is with me. Winning Edge Investments, tips and ratings for racing and sports. Dino, let's have a look at the Gloaming Stakes there at Rosehill tomorrow afternoon. A couple of key scratchings within the law and Federalists all coming out. That means now to 2 Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott Gallopers on top here in the market with Bet365. Shangri-La Boy at $4.40 and Champagne Hero at $4.60. Flying Orchard at $6.50. Master of the Air's had some backing at $7 and then Providence at $9 here, Dean.
Yeah, usually the first run for these 3-year-olds over 1,800 metres, and a really critical factor is that barriers 1 to 6 have won 13 of the last 14 Gloaming Stakes. So those 3-year-olds having that first run over a trip, those inside barriers really help them. Yep. All 14 winners have had more than 3 or more career starts. And you've got the favourite Shangri-La Boys only having its 3rd start. The top 5 in tab number order have won 13 from 14, which is the top 5 on the official handicap rating. So it's usually the better horses that are winning. Waller's won 3, Waterhouse has run 2, and it's a form horses race. All 14 winners have sort of been in the top 5 at the last couple of starts. The 2 that really stand out on the profiling for me, Champagne Hero, trained by Gay, who won by over 4 lengths at Newcastle last start, and they ran plus 6.2 lengths above the standard time there. And then Master of the Air, who's trained by Chris Waller and won his favourite at Kembla last start, was plus 3.4 lengths above the standard time. They both appear to profile very nicely for this race. They should both find the rail and running. That'll be really critical. I think both of the 3-year-olds, and it's probably going to suit on the day early at Rosehill as well. And they're bred to run the trip. Master of the Airs by Done Deal and Champagne Heroes by Maurice. So I think they tick all the boxes to the type of horses that win a Gloaming at around $7 and $4.60 again. I think it's a race you can back both with confidence and come home a winner.
Yeah, so it is an interesting race. Now, any horses, just quickly there, mate, that we should be backing maybe for a futures play, for a derby or a spring champion?
Well, again, I think those two are going to stand out. If they win there, they're going to sharpen very nicely for that race. So I think they are the 2.
0499 736 736 to join our conversation here on Giddy Up on this Friday morning. We've got the Country Hour coming up, or the Country Corner coming up straight after 11 o'clock. Josh McGuinness and our special guest will be Austie Coffee, of course. Of course, we've got the Manangatang Cup on Saturday, so looking forward to that. one of my favourite meetings. I haven't gone, but I love the people that go there because there's always a great story or two coming out of the Manangatang Cup meeting. So we'll talk about that with Josh, and also, of course, with Austie Coffee straight after we finish up with Dino. But we've still got a couple more races to preview with Dean Evans from Winning Edge Investments today. 0499 736 736 is the number to send your text in. I'll find out what Federalist is doing with Wayne Hawkes during the next break, because it was interesting to see that horse scratched, of course, from Saturday's Gloaming. I know that he's been set for the Spring Championship, and I would imagine that's still the plan, but I'll find out straight after this break here on Giddy Up. It's great to have your company on this Friday morning.
Live across the SEN track and RSN networks, and broadcasting live on racing.com. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Here with Gareth Hall on Giddy Up on this Friday morning, all thanks to Bet365. If you're watching us on racing.com, it's great to have your company as well on your local SEN track and RSN dials, thanks to Winning Edge Investments. Dean Evans is with me, and we're about to have a look at the Alan Brown Stakes now at Rosehill on a Saturday. That is race number 9 on the program, I should say. Miss Rubini, now there's a big question mark over her. They're not quite happy with her, Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr., so she's having some blood tests, and they'll get her bloods back and then make a decision whether she starts or not tomorrow. So there's a question mark over Miss Rubini. Gringotts, he's been scratched the last couple of Saturdays he's been in because he's had a virus. He's at $7, Basusto at $10. Will he do it at $10 and Waterford at $12? So if she does come out, Dean, this race will be turned upside down, basically.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of a concern. That's the first I've heard of that, because she was who I was keen on. She's, we've been following her all spring. She's had 11 starts, 5 wins and 5 placings. She won that Caulfield trial in August that has produced Miraval Rose, who won 2 in a row, including a Group 2 last start, and Magic Time, who's won a Group 3 and Group 1 place since then. She's just had no luck with Miss Rubini, 4 wide, no cover first up, and ran second to Group 1 winner Magic Time, and then to be yanked right back to the wide gate, the rear of the field in the Group 1, so Rupert Clark, and again she flew home for second. I thought she profiled really nicely for this race, and as long as Tommy could sort of get covered, there's just such a hot speed with sort of Felix Majestic, Diamond, Lily, and Flicker, all of these quick horses early. Thought just with some cover and late in the day, with some allowance for swooping at Rosehill in a hot tempo. I thought if she was right, she'd be really hard to beat. So a bit disappointing there if she's going to have to come out, unfortunately, because I thought they'd found a nice race for her.
Yeah, so we'll keep a close eye on that, but we'll know in the next 12 hours or so, I think, with Miss Rubini. The Vauban comp is still, you're still an opportunity to enter this comp. It's the best comp going around. That I've said this on numerous occasions. It's the best comp that we've had on Giddy Up and the SEN track, and on SEN track and RSN. You got to enter into this competition, and if you win, you get a chance to go to either Caulfield Cup Day or either the Caulfield Cup Day or the Everest Day. I think it's a package for 2 valued up to $5,000, and you also get a percent of Vauban heading into a Caulfield Cup. So how do you go about winning this competition? That is the question, Dean Evans.
Yeah, just pop onto sen.com.au/win. Look for the Ultimate Race Day Out banner there. It says up to $30,000 in prizes, and check your details in there. You've only got until tomorrow. The competition closes tomorrow. And then we'll be, announcing a winner next week. So this is your last chance to get involved. Vauban, we're really confident. He ran so well in the Metrop. He was just really unlucky again. Look at his 2 2,400-metre runs in Australia. He should have won the Tancred if Tim Clark had stayed on the rail. I think he goes through and he beats you by honour. And then, again, he just found a whole lot of trouble, and he was carrying 8.5 kgs more than every other runner that was there in the finish, and he probably should have beaten them with clear running. He's flying. I think the Caulfield Cup's kind of falling away, apart from half yours, and maybe some really only those overseas runners. Maidan and Visage Nocturne, the Japanese horse. I think the Aussie horses, if Buckaroo goes with the Cox Plate, which I obviously hope it does. Then there's not that much that Vauban has to beat. I think he's right in the race, and you've got an opportunity here to own 1% of them and walk away with up to $25,000, as well as your $5,000 tickets for Caulfield Cup and Everest. They're both going to be huge race days. So There's a good prize.
And unlike the Melbourne Cup, top weights have got a pretty good record of recent times anyway in a Caulfield Cup. And your book Black Shin as well, which is a big positive.
Yeah, huge positive. Fantastic rider.
Yeah.
Really, really happy about that. A really quality rider for Vauban, and hopefully sticks with them for the Melbourne Cup as well.
So you got to go to sen.com/competitions and you got to write in under 25 words why you deserve to win this competition. So think about it. You got to tomorrow to enter. As I said, it's the best competition we've ever done here on Giddy Up, SEN Track and RSN. Prize is worth up to, as you just pointed out, Dino, $30,000, and who knows, he could just win that Caulfield Cup and you get a chance to experience it as an owner, and 25 large will jump in basically. So it's a competition well worth doing. Good on you, mate. Good luck this weekend. We appreciate your help as well. And winningedgeinvestments.com, tips, ratings and betting education for racing and sports. It's not just racing that you cover all sports, and it's your one-stop shop for those punters out there that are trying to find a winner.
Yeah, we always love having the SN listeners on board, and we've had a really, really fantastic, very highly profitable spring so far. We've got a couple of services that won more than 6,000 in just the last month for $100 per unit punter, and services starting from $287 a month. It's people are pretty happy at the moment.
Well, you go and dominate this weekend. Thanks for that, Dean. We'll catch up with you next week.
Cheers, Gareth. Appreciate it.
There's Dean Evans from winningedgeinvestments.com, tips, ratings and betting education for racing and sports.